I've waited a year to do that. That's something I've been waiting to do, so thank you. Well, thank you all for coming out. We are going to start today with the organizational meeting of the school board, and this is prior to the regular meeting of the school board. So I'm going to need a motion, or do we just move into it?
You can call it to order, ask for roll call.
All right, we're going to call it to order. Madam Secretary, if you note the roll, and we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And moving on, we are going to move on to the appointment of the President Pro Tem and Secretary Pro Tem. What's that? Yeah, this is the process here. That's why I'm kind of making sure I'm doing this correctly. So do I have a motion to appoint the President Pro Tem? And I'll sit as president, that's fine.
Yeah, why don't I make a motion
Yeah.
that Scott Philippik sits as President Pro Tem. Looks good in that spot.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Gina. All in favor, or
Any other nominations?
any other nominations? Sorry, this is once a year, so we're kind of hashing this out.
And then you can
All right,
roll call.
starting with Greg.
Yes.
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 All right.
Yes.
And I apologize for, we're going to remember this next year when we do this again next year. Can I get a motion for the Secretary Pro Tem?
I recommend that the Board of Education appoint Gina Faso to serve as Secretary Pro Tem,
Do I have any?
No, just
Secretary Pro Tem.
I second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more nominations? Nope.
All right, we'll start with Rich.
Yes.
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 All right, congratulations, Gina. We move on to the reorganization of the board, election of officers, and appointment of recording secretary. And does anybody have a motion for the recording? No?
The president.
Right, he's right. He's reading the category title. I'm so sorry. You're good. So now you need a motion.
Do I need this gavel again? I'm getting used to it.
Now you need a motion.
A motion for the, for board president? Okay. Do I have a motion for board president? And I'm going to make that motion. I move that Anisha Jogi be board president for the upcoming term. Thank you, Chad. Do I have another nomination? Hearing none. Congratulations, Anisha. You are the new president.
Thank you so much.
You can stay there. She'll just mark them.
Just switch name tags.
Do you need a roll
Yeah,
call?
sweet.
Oh, we need a roll call.
I thought if it was not a
Just a
contested.
confirmation.
All right, let's do it. We'll start with ceremoniously, Anisha.
Yes, sure.
Yes.
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 All right, congratulations, Anisha. It's official now.
Thank you. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank Scott Philippik for his collaborative leadership this past year. Our board is stronger because of your efforts, Scott, and so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the honor to serve for the 1 year, like I said I would serve, and I appreciate you all being supportive and allowing me to get through this difficult time in the last year. And hopefully we'll get through this, this part better with you guys. So take
No,
it over.
You did great. And I'm truly honored to carry the baton forward and continue our work to effectively govern, building a positive culture here in Arlington Heights District 25. Our service as education advocates individually and collectively is essential, and we will continue to work together as a board with our District 25 neighbors to realize our district mission to empower an inclusive, diverse community of learners to innovate and thrive as global citizens. So onwards together for the sake of our students. Thank you so much. And I'd like to now move to appoint the board vice president. Do I have a motion?
Mrs. President, I'd like to appoint Brian Siniglia as vice president for a one-year term commencing on April 21st, 2022.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Thank you. Lana, can we please call for a vote?
Member, hold on. Well, I have my thing. Member Scapalato,
Yes.
Member Olenichak,
Yes.
Member Jogi,
Yes.
Member Philippek,
Yes.
Member Cherniglia,
Yes.
Member Faso,
Yes.
Member Conley.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. We'll now move forward to take an
Wait,
action.
I have a
to-
speech, no, I'm kidding.
Oh, yes, please. Vice President Siniglia, would you like to share some words?
No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for the nomination.
Okay.
Glad to continue to serve.
Thank you. We're excited to have you. We'll now move on to take action to appoint the board secretary. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Greg Scapalato as secretary for 1 year commencing today, April 21st, 2022.
Second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none. Lana, if you could please call for a vote.
Member Scapalato, oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Member Olenichak,
Yes.
Member Jogi,
Yes.
Member Philippek,
Yes.
Member Cherniglia,
Yes.
Member Faso,
Yes.
Member Conley,
Yes.
Member Scapalato.
Yes.
Congratulations. Okay, moving forward, we're going to take an action to appoint the board recording secretary. Could I please have a motion?
Mr. President.
Yes, Madam President, yes, go ahead.
That's what I said. Or I said Mrs. President, sorry. Madam President. So,
Sorry.
the Board of Education appoint Lana as recording secretary for 1 year term commencing today, April 21st, 2022.
I'll second.
Thank you. Do we have any other motions on the floor? No. No, nobody,
After today, I think you might want another, no.
no, nobody wants that very, very important job that Lana does for us. Do we go ahead and please call for a vote, Lana?
Member Jogi,
Yes.
Member Philippek,
Yes.
Member Cherniglia,
Yes.
Member Faso.
Yes.
Member Conley,
Yes.
Member Scapalato,
Yes.
Member Olenichak.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Lana, for your very important service. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the setting of meeting dates and times, which is an action item. If I could please have a motion?
Madam President,
Yes.
I move that the
Sorry.
Board of Education approve the school board meeting dates, times, and locations for 2022, 2023 as presented.
Thank you, Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Greg. Is there any discussion for this item?
Madam President.
Yes, Gina.
I believe the discussion that we had was that we were only going to try to work around 214, but all of the meetings appear to move from Thursdays to Tuesdays, which is problematic for my personal schedule.
Okay.
That was a board discussion.
Yes.
On deciding on Tuesdays. We can either table this and bring it back next time and talk with Gina and see if there's an alternate we can do.
Yeah, that'd be great, Dr. Bryan, if you could bring that
Bring it
back.
back in the May meeting.
Yes, please. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So we won't vote on that item, and we'll table it for next time.
Correct. Then you need just a motion to adjourn.
Yep. I need a motion to adjourn the organizational meeting. Please, could I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you. And a second? Second. Okay, thank you, Rich. And we have now adjourned the organizational meeting, and we'll be going into our regular meeting. Thank you, Scott. Okay, now I need a motion to open the Thursday, April 21st, 2022 regular meeting of the school board here in Arlington Heights, District 25. And the first, Lana, if you could Lana, could you please note the roll call? Thank you. And we're very excited. The first item is recognitions and presentations. And we're going to be beginning with recognition of Arlington Heights all-star student athletes. And we are very, very excited. Thank you, Dr. Leswicki. I have to say the District 25 board is super excited, and we're so excited to see all the blue t-shirts that we've been seeing all week on Twitter, and the students and the work that has been put to put this program together. And Dr. Leswicki, take it away.
Head coaches. They have worked collaboratively with the Special Olympics of Illinois organization to bring the All-Stars to District 25. Tonight they are going to introduce the other Special Olympics coaches and highlight our All-Star athletes.
Hello, I'm Colleen Higgins.
And I'm Allison Keogh.
And we are the Special Olympics athletic directors and head coaches for the All-Stars. And we are really excited and proud to be starting the Special Olympics program in our district.
The Arlington Heights All-Stars have been working hard every Tuesday since February in preparation for our spring games, which is in May. Today, we would like to introduce to you our fabulous coaches, as well as some of our athletes that were able to join us today.
We have 11 wonderful coaches who will introduce, and if they're here, they'll stand up and give a little wave. So first, we have Annie Lee, Kathy Miklosh, Carol Galimo, Amy McEllen, Grace Scran, Nikki Koch,
We have Kelly Locke, Corinne Duffy, Carol Nelms, Hannah Tyke, and Rose Stadola. All of our coaches come from various schools around our district, including various teaching positions. Now we'd like to introduce to you our Arlington Heights All-Stars. If you will please turn your attention to the screen behind you. gifts today. And we're going to give you something a little bit special, so you are also an all-star. When you open up your t-shirts, you are going to notice that the design is very similar to what our Arlington Heights symbol is. We wanted something all-inclusive. Every red star on your shirt represents a school in Arlington Heights that come together to make one large gold star, which is us, the Arlington Heights All-Stars.
The Arlington Heights All-Stars would like to formally invite everyone to come and watch and cheer on our team. The Spring Games competition is happening on Sunday, May 15th, and we hope you guys can make it to see what our athletes have been doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The coaches have a special surprise for the athletic directors, Allison and Colleen, for all your hard work, for all these all-stars on our team. We raised $266 to start, plus all your T-shirt sales, so you can put it in your funds. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Also, on behalf of the Board of Education, we have a small gift for you.
Yeah, that's exciting. And truly, we wish good luck to the Arlington All-Star student athletes on their upcoming participation in the Special Olympics Spring Games track and field. And we're excited to be there.
Madam President,
Yes. Yes, Mr. Philpeck.
I want to. I
Yeah.
know, no, I just.
In a second. Thank you. I think Mr. Philipek has a word for you guys too.
Well, no, you can sit back down and we'll let you go back to your evening. But I'm super excited. I know the last couple of years this hasn't taken place. The opening ceremonies, the games, just because of the ongoing pandemic. But I will be there in my civilian life, other than the board. The police department, Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, and Wheeling, the neighboring police departments participate in the opening ceremonies. I will be there on that date to cheer you on. So when I see these blue shirts walk out of the gate, I'm going to be so proud. So I'm going to be cheering you on. My colleagues will be cheering you on, and I want you to do great things for yourself and for our district. So good luck to everybody.
That's it. Just incredible work. Thank you so much. This is definitely the highlight for our board when these special recognitions time. So thank you so much for all the students for coming today. And we actually have another recognition today. We also want to congratulate the students who qualified for the state wrestling tournament.
my turn, because Coach did this a few years ago. So we just want to thank the community. This was for sure a rebuilding year, with us being off for a year and a half now. This is a long season. I mean, we start on December 1st and we go till March 12th. These guys give us everything they got from that 2.5 months that we're together, which is pretty awesome. So we had Tony Flickus, Owen Pham, and Frank to go. And I just want to say, Coach and I just want to say we're just so proud of you. You guys are definitely the leaders on the team. And every day, you're giving us your heart and your soul, and we thank you for that. We also want to thank our other coach who couldn't be here, Coach Malik. He was a huge, huge help. And to all the other supports that we had, all the different dads coming in and out, helping our program build. So we're on the upswing here. So we're excited to see where we go next year for sure. But thank you so much for your support. You want to say anything, Coach?
Just real quick, yeah. I just wanted to thank the district, too, for giving us a chance. I know wrestling a few years ago was not sure it was going to work out. We tried it as a club sport, and it's really meant a lot to our kids. 2 of my guys are 7th graders, so I expect we're going to probably be doing the same thing next year. And pay attention to the other one who's going off to high school, because there's going to be great things for him in the future, too. So thanks for everything, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much to our wrestling team. That's amazing. We're now going to be moving on to community input. The opportunity to speak to the board is provided for members of the public who have a comment to make about the business of the board. The board appreciates hearing from stakeholders and values your thoughts and questions. Even before I started that, I should have said, if you would like to stay for the rest of the meeting, please stay. But if you want to go home and celebrate and go for some ice cream, we would be so happy you do that. Okay. Bye. Okay, now we can start the after party with all of you here. And so we're going to move forward, like I said, with community input. And thank you for those of you who are here today. The opportunity to speak to the board is provided for members of the public who have a comment to make about the business of the board. The board appreciates hearing from stakeholders and values your thoughts and questions. As the board strives to make the best decisions for the district, public input can be helpful. In order for the board to reserve sufficient time to conduct its business and to operate its meeting in the spirit of civility and decorum, speakers are expected to follow the following guidelines. Number 1, address the board only at the time provided on the agenda and only after being recognized by the board president. Number 2, identify yourself and be brief. Your comments must be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. The board may shorten this allowed time in order to conserve time to allow the maximum number of people the opportunity to speak. And number 3, please be respectful and courteous, and the board requests that you not make statements that are personally disrespectful or condescending to members of the board or our staff. The board typically does not respond to comments or attempts to answer questions during the public comment provided in the period that we've provided, but we do listen intently and appreciate the input from our community. So, Lon, do we have any blue slips today? Actually, no comments today. Okay. Well, we'll move on to the next part of that agenda.
Can we take a vote on the
So moving forward to the consent agenda, This is an action item.
Madam President,
Yes, Greg.
I move that the Board of Education approve those items on the consent agenda as follows. A, personnel report and addendum to personnel report. B, treasurer's report. C, fixed asset disposal reports. D, invoices. E, public hearing on the reduction of in force meeting minutes of March 17th, 2022. F, regular and closed session meeting minutes of March 17th, 2022.
Thank you, Greg. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rich. Lana, could you please call for a vote?
Member Faso?
Yes.
Member Conley?
Yes.
Member Scapalato?
Yes.
Member Oliniechek?
Yes.
Member Jogi?
Yes.
Member Philippek?
Yes.
Member Cerniglia?
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. We're now going to move forward for the communications to and from board members. And first up, we have NSSEO, and Gina Faso will be reporting.
Take that. This month, surprisingly, you have some?
I have two things. But
Oh,
you
I was
can
going
go
to say,
first.
I was just going to put a kind of an over umbrella that we didn't get any all-stars this month, which is kind of odd, but, you know, it's out of the ordinary. But Gina, take it away. I'm sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. They just have two events coming up for everybody's awareness if there's desired participation. On the 30th of April is Miners Fundraiser, which is it will occur at Miner School from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. for anybody who wants to come out. It will have adaptive play, sensory activities, tie-dye, and then the charity golf outing, which will occur at Old Orchard Country Club on behalf of Timber Ridge, is scheduled for June 4th. And more information can be found on the NSSEO websites. That was what I had.
I didn't mean to step on your toes. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, I just wanted to deliver that news that
Thank you.
no
Thank
shining
you.
stars.
Thank you, Scott. Next up, we're going to share a little bit about IASB. Last night, Dr. Bide, myself, and Rich, we attended the IASB spring dinner. So, Rich, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so thank you, Anisha. So it was a great dinner. It was at the new junior high. Appreciate it. It looks big, and it's a beautiful school, Lincoln Junior High School in Skokie, Illinois. Very beautiful school. Not as nice as Thomas or South, but I know they tried, but not as good as ours. But it is a very beautiful school. One of the main speakers there was Ralph Martieri. He's the Executive Director, Center for Tax and Budget Accountability. So you might wonder what that is, but it's a great kind of like a group that assesses budgets and taxes and comes up with strategic ways to influence or provide information about what is really happening, or maybe suggestions on what could happen, or way to change things to make things better in the state of Illinois. One of his main speaks, and I'll be brief in some of the comments here, but some things he really took away which were kind of interesting. So just recently, our budget was passed for the state of Illinois, $46 billion. It was signed off, and there was a lot of hoopla that, hey, we had a balanced budget. It was great, it was balanced. But one of his interesting comments was it's actually not balanced when you think about it, because it's structurally the way the government accounts for it. One of the major items is that in government accounting, you don't have to account for the bills you didn't pay from last year. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I wish we could do it too. You know, say, hey, you know, I didn't pay my tax bill from last year. Don't worry about it. So really, when you look and add that back into our budget, we're about 15% in the hole right off the bat from a state level. The other thing he said, which was also interesting, is that one of the reasons they were able to balance the budget is that we have $4 billion flowing in from the federal government, which goes away in 2025. So we have 2 more years, 2.5, 3 more years of that type of income, and then it goes away, which automatically means, well, there's a $4 billion shortfall in a budget at that particular point. Then he started talking about the actual budget, which was kind of interesting, is that when you think about it, there's, I'll call it above the line, and these are budget items that are statutorily or obligations that they have to pay. Pension, you gotta pay some of your bills, things of that nature. And then it's the discretionary part, which is below the line. And it was an interesting way to think about it because there's only 4 categories of the discretionary line, which is healthcare at $8 billion for next year. Then the group of early childhood, K through 12, and higher education, which basically came out to about, let's round it up to about 18 billion, no, sorry, I can't even read my own writing. Came out to be about 13 billion. And then human services at 8 billion and public safety at 2 billion. So those are the discretionary. So when they try to balance the budget, they're really trying to move those discretionary items. And he pointed out, sure, go talk to your state representative, congressperson of which one of those do you really want to cut because they're all important. Now, one of the things he did then discuss, really our focus was on K through 12, right, or we're interested in. And in the past 20 years, when we look at how much the state has put into K through 12 education, and you normalize it, they've only increased it by 3.5% in 20 years. And the 3.5% has come in the last 5 years because of the new law that went into effect where we have the the evidence-based system, right? Which puts schools into tiers, and based on your tiering, which is your funding level, provides more funding to those schools that are in a greater financial need and less than to those that have more financial need, or have less financial need. That even though there was a law passed, it's not fully funded yet. So they're not even putting in all the money that they should be putting in that they said they were going to put into that particular piece, which then obviously, what's that? Oh, which obviously hurts us overall. In the other areas, they're actually spending 18% less. So that's in higher education, public safety are actually spending less in those particular areas. One of the things that he also talked about is that one of the ongoing issues that we have is pensions. That's one of the largest areas that's drawing a lot of our resources. Right now in the state, the pensions are funded at 40%. And he basically says we're paying for all the sins of decades before where they basically wrote IOUs and would pay interest on it. So structurally, it's upside down, and it's actually scary, the graph that he put up there, but it doesn't get any better as we look at it overall. He talked about property taxes, and one of the challenges in the ways the states have increased funding to education is actually shifted state funding and pushed it toward property taxes. So in fact, our property taxes have gone up to about covering 60% of schools, where nationally they cover 40%, 45%. And all in all, our property taxes in Illinois have grown by 70%, while the median income have only grown by 11%. So it's kind of hard when you think of that, especially which was another interesting statistic that he brought up, is that 78% of the state makes $75,000 or less. So that's an interesting statistic to think about. If everything is that property taxes are going up so high, median income is going up a little bit, it's challenging. And he brought up some suggestions about how to fix it, structurally change our pension. The way we actually account for the pension could be just more of a structural change that would help pay it off in a little faster. He was very supportive of a increase in the overall income tax, as well as one that he suggested increasing it to 6.5% and then providing a tax credit to those that make under $75,000. And then he also brought up, which I thought was an interesting item, and though I knew it, you never really thought about it, was that in Illinois we don't tax services like your lawn care or things of that nature. You just tax haircuts. Yes, he brought that up exactly. He brought up haircuts.
What's that supposed to mean?
Exactly. You spend obviously a lot on. Yes. But he did say if we actually started to tax services, that could help shore up additional revenue.
Consumption taxes.
So again, very, very interesting discussion.
Thank you, Rich. Rich took. I was watching him yesterday. He was taking profuse notes. So yeah,
it was numbers.
No, it was really interesting. It's always a time for us as school board members to learn from members from across the region. So it's always really helpful to be there. As far as IASB goes, I attended, and I think some of my colleagues attended, the Equity Journey conversation that was hosted by IASB with a lot of where there was a panel of legal expertise discussing the Illinois State Board of Education's equity journey, which is going to be showing up on school report cards starting this fall, I believe. And schools, and I'm really proud of our district. District 25 is ahead of this game already. Some of the ways that the state is going to be grading school districts is on three criteria. The first one being student learning, the second one being learning conditions, and the third one being elevating educators. Some of the measures they're going to be looking at has school boards set out on an equity audit, which our district already has, and we will be hearing a report back. So a lot of great positive steps are happening at a statewide level to make sure that we're providing opportunities for all students. So that was a really interesting meeting, and we'll continue to hear more about the equity journey as the state rolls this out for districts. We're now going to move on to Ed Red. Ed Red, Richard, do you have something to add to that?
So even though the legislature was adjourned, there was one piece of action that really that impacts schools across the board, and we've talked about it probably over the course of the entire year, which was House Bill 1167. Remember, it got vetoed, it came back, it came back, but it finally passed, and the governor signed off on it. It's now Public Act 102-0697, which really what it does for us is saying that any teacher or really employee of a school, if they had to take sick leave due to COVID-19 for themselves or to be quarantined or for the care of a child that was either sick or quarantined, they can be placed onto administrative leave, so they're not using their own sick leave. This is retroactive all the way to the beginning of the school year. So if you had to take sick leave, those sick leave days would be restored once you demonstrate that documentation, which is really a PCR or an antigen test. The key pieces to this is that you must be fully vaccinated, and fully vaccinated means you have the 2 shots. And there was an interesting twist, and this is where we might want legal's interpretation on it, because they said the way CDC defines it, okay, which means with the booster, but then there was also a sentence afterwards that said, as soon as the IDPH says that they've now used that as a new norm. So I don't know, I was looking online today and I didn't see that they accepted that as the new norm.
No, currently it's the definition are the 2 Moderna, 2 Pfizer,
Yep.
or 1 Johnson & Johnson.
Thank you. The other interesting twist is that it's proscriptive, meaning you have till May 10th to get vaccinated, at which point it would be retroactive. So it's one of those weird types of situations. Though it covers COVID-19, it's only applicable while there's an emergency order by the governor, so really it covers this entire year. We're still in our emergency order on that. But it's intended, now that it's in the school code, anytime he declares an emergency now after this school year, and it's COVID-19, then we would offer administrative leave rather than sick leave. So there you go.
Thank you, Rich. Stacy, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, at the meeting last week, it was all focused on the law. There are 3 parts to the law. One is the sick leave, one is paid return of sick leave days, one is paid administrative leave, and then one is the ESP paycheck protection, which also goes into the future as long as there's, well, actually, I don't even think it's while there's a declaration in place. It's if you do remote learning or cancel school in the case of a pandemic, if you don't reschedule that day, you have to pay anybody who would have typically been working that day, including contractors. So where, if you recall, during the pandemic, we had an agreement with the bus company where we just paid a portion of the contract. We would not, if we, instead of doing a snow day and making it up at the end of the year, we did an e-learning day, we wouldn't get credit in our contract for not servicing buses that year under this new law. So that's also another piece that will impact us. Ironically, the attorneys that spoke regarding this law at EdRed agree with other legal firms that Brian and I have sat through webinars on in some parts of the interpretation of the law, but they don't all agree on other parts of interpretation. So we're still kind of weeding our way through some of the exact definitions of what it means and doesn't mean, but we'll get there.
Thank you, Stacy. And I believe there's a EdRed dinner on Monday, correct? Scott and I will be there. I'm sure Dr. Bine and other people. Do we know who the speaker is for Monday? Oh.
State Superintendent Carmen.
Okay, so no, we're excited to be there. Yeah, Scott and I love the dessert, so that's part of the reason why we go as well. But no, it is really great that State Superintendent Carmen Ayala, who's been doing extraordinary work for our state, is going to be there addressing us. We're now going to be moving on to a board governance framework, and Member Philippek will be talking about it.
Yeah, so this is my final report on the policies that we all signed off on, that we agree to. This one comes out of 2200, and it says, we will consistently abide by our formal processes relating to this issue that all persons are treated fairly and equally. We review our policies related to board meeting and management, revising or reaffirming them as appropriate. And I think that kind of rings true tonight in that we restructured our board, kind of reflective on policy 2110, qualification term and duties of board members, where we restructured our board with president, vice president, and secretary today. So every year we kind of revisit where we're at and move forward as needed. So that's my report for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Member Philippek. This may be, you may not be off the hook. We may keep you doing this because it's been very helpful.
Congratulations.
So don't go anywhere, okay, Member Philippek. We are now going to go to other board communication. Is there any other board communication?
Madam
Yes,
President.
Member.
So I just have a couple things to share this meeting. And so a lot of times when we're talking here at this table, it's very large scale, big items. And I just want to draw attention to a small scale thing that happened last week. I got to be part of the bike rodeo at Patton last week. And it was just, it was after school, and it was organized by the Patton traffic team, or at least the parents that run that. And it was supported by the Arlington Heights Police Department. And there were different stations run by parent volunteers. I got to run the station on how to start and stop safely with your bicycle, and we got to practice it. But it was, like I say, a small scale example of what's so great about our district, our community. It really, it takes a village. And so we had volunteer parents, we had the police department there, and it was supported by the school. And, if you look on social media and you see that at every school, so I just wanted to use that as an example that, we don't do this alone, we do it as a community. And it was just a great event. And if you do need pro tips on starting and stopping, we can talk after. The other one was last week was I got to attend the first community forum we had in reference to the referendum, and we're not talking about that officially on the agenda, but I just want to commend Dr. Bine, Ryan Schultz, Adam Harris, and really everyone. I know that was a team effort too. We've had so much information flow through these meetings, and I was really amazed at how you distilled it down into a really clear picture that anyone walking in, hadn't heard anything, could walk in and get your arms around what we're trying to do with this referendum. A number of community members were there, and that was great too. We heard stories from different community members about, people that have lived here their whole lives, right? We're giving us history lessons about, well, when these schools were built and then they went away, and then I raised my kids here, and it was just a really rich example, another example of what's great about this community. So I know there are many places to find out where these meetings are, but I would just like to encourage anyone listening, please come out. You'll get great information, but also understand what's great about this school district.
turn this on. Vice President Sineglia and I were actually talking about these, I'm so glad you were able to go, because we're talking about these referendum meetings and how, you know, as board members, we're all really interested in going and participating at different ones. So that's great that you got to go and give us feedback back about how wonderful it was. I also checked my mail today, and I got a great mailer from District 25 about the referendum, extremely well done by our communications team. So it was really informative to me as a resident of Arlington Heights. So thank you to our communications team for that work as well.
Madam President? Yes. I, too, was in attendance at that, at that forum.
Please tell us, share, yes.
And I agree with Greg's assessment. I commended Dr. Bine and Ryan right there in the instance. I thought they did an incredible job of putting everything together. I thought it was very succinct, very to the point. They were able to answer questions, and they provided a really good, considering how much we've digested as a group, they put together a really good presentation for the community with the right amount of information and the right amount of supporting information around everything that we were doing. I thought it was really well put together.
It's sticking. No, is there any other communication from board members? I'll add one more. I was at Dryden this morning. They had a volunteer recognition breakfast. It's kind of the one-shot deal that parents feel like celebrities walking down the hallway being cheered on. But it was pretty incredible, and I'm going to tack on to what Gina and Greg said about the amazing community that we have and the amount of involvement that we have. Because at Dryden, Principal Cecil was talking about how there's about over 400 students, and there's about 250 volunteers, right, making this magic happen in our buildings. So it was so excellent to see, and a great event put together by the Dryden team and the librarian in particular. So great event to be at. Okay, let's move forward. We're going to go to communications to board members, and the first one is from the Arlington Heights Council of PTA. And Nicole Barbieri cannot be here today. They had a long meeting actually last night that she told me about when I saw her this morning. But she has sent a report that I'm happy to read out. And it reads, good evening to the District 25 community. Right before spring break, she says, the Arlington Heights Council of PTAs held a scholarship fundraiser known as Pack the Piggies that Dr. Biden also told us about. And the fundraiser was created to help support our scholarship fund that provides 9 high school seniors that were a part of District 25 at least 3 years with a $1,000 college scholarship. The fund also provides 10 elementary school students in grades K through 8 with a $100 gift certificate to the Park District. Pack the Piggies was the Arlington Heights Council of PTA's first district-wide collaborative fundraising effort. We set an all-district goal of $9,000 and succeeded by raising $9,646 and some pennies to go with that, 27 pennies. That was a whole lot of change to count, I'm sure. We managed to break the coin counting machine several times at the bank, and we're beyond thankful for all the support we received from the District 25 families, students, and administration. We couldn't have done it without your enthusiasm and encouragement. Special thanks to the AHC's fundraising chair, Jody Sheff, for bringing this idea to our community. We're looking forward to next year's Pack the Piggies fundraiser. We can't wait to see which principal will kiss a pig or get slimed next. Thank you. And folks, you should go on Twitter to watch these Kiss the Pig videos. They were very entertaining. So kudos again. I'm seeing a theme tonight about the amazing community and community engagement we have. Next, as far as communication to board members, we have ABC 25 Foundation, and Gina will be reporting.
Yes, thank you, Anisha. So again, another April 30th. So if you really have nothing to do on April 30th, you can start your day out with a very refreshing run with the Get Verb Challenge. Run, walk, full community. Come listen to an amazing DJ. And come out and support all of the great efforts that have already been done. This is our biggest fundraiser of the year, and it is done in support of raising money so that we can give it back to all of our wonderful teachers and educators in the form of grants so that they can get more creative and innovative with the work that they are doing in the classroom, and they can also try new things and be inspired to try new things with funding that doesn't necessarily start from the budgetary perspective. In addition, anybody who's looking for something new and wants to volunteer because you don't feel like going out for that refreshing run, we're happy to have a host of volunteers, and there's lots of slots open, and we always need more people to help out in the spirit of community.
Thank you so much, Gina, and thank you for serving as a board member and on ABC 25 Foundation. That's really helpful. And I overheard Member Philippek talking that he started training this morning for this run, and he did really well, he said.
It's been a long 6 months. It's getting back on that horse. That's a hard thing to do. So
I'll have to do the same myself. Next up, we have ATA and our one and only Allison Burke. Please come up. Thank you.
Last time I dragged it across the table. Can you hear me? Is it on? Yep, good. Okay, so before I shine the spotlight on Olive, I would like to say that ATA, along with administrators and board members, have been busy these last 2 months with contract negotiations. It's been a positive experience so far with lots of thoughtful conversations, and we look forward to continuing this process as we move closer to a new contract. Thank you to Rich Olnichak and Brian Cerniglia, and of course Stacy Malik and Brian Kay for sitting on the committee with us. So we look forward to more conversations as we move closer. Also, I want to do a quick shout out to the shirt under the shirt that I'm wearing. Here we go, my All-Stars shirt. To my home school of Windsor that happens to house the Special Olympics program. It has been awesome to walk by that gym every Tuesday to see those kids practicing in there, and all of our teachers in our school, maybe everywhere today, were wearing the All-Star shirts, which was so awesome to see everybody coming together for that, and it's been fun to watch those kids participating. Kudos to Allison Keogh and Colleen Higgins for taking this program and running with it. They have done an amazing job. So I know they're not here anymore, but this has been like the most fun board meeting tonight to be at, by the way, with all those kids here, and everybody's talking about all the amazing things happening in the district. So I'm going to just keep riding that wave, and I'm going to talk about Olive Mary Stitt. So here we go. All right. So kindergartners at Olive have, not Olive, yes, at Olive, sorry. So many schools tonight. All right, so kindergartners have had a fun time meeting with their 5th grade buddies to work on math and reading. They started off March making their monthly calendars and having fun celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday. They've been learning how to retell stories and compare fairy tales, and they just started poetry, have been working on writing their own poems. They've had a lot of fun learning about 3D shapes and making them with Play-Doh, and they're doing a great job writing and being brave spellers. So here's some pictures of our kindergarten friends with their 5th grade buddies, making their calendars. So cute. Play-Doh. Dr. Seuss's birthday. Okay, moving on. So 1st grade students had the opportunity to study Japan and its rich culture. After flying to Tokyo, that's them in their airplane right behind me, they got to learn about city life, food, clothing, important monuments, traditions, and going to school. They also learned how to make origami and write their names in Japanese. During this 3-week unit, students kept a journal of their travels and their learning, and it was a wonderful opportunity for students to compare and contrast their American lives here with those in Japan. So here they are on their flight to Japan. This is their flight home, including a movie. Here are our 1st grade friends dressed in some of the traditional clothing, learning to write their names. And of course, who can forget the teachers who are, making this whole thing awesome for the kids. Always so much fun and learning going on in second grade. To culminate their unit on matter, they had a matter morning, and the second graders rotated to 5 classrooms and did an experiment relating to matter in each one. Parents and teachers from the Olive Mary Stitt community joined in. Second graders also recently completed a writing project on the presidents. Students were asked to complete the writing process from start to finish. Classes have their work displayed in the second grade hallway, and some students dressed up and presented about their president. The best picture. There they are as all the presidents dressed up presenting. After the second trimester, third graders reflected on their golden work or successes from the previous trimester and then created a pot of goals for their third trimester. This made a festive display for St. Patrick's Day in the third grade hallway. Their pot of goals. See what they did there? In the months of February and March, 4th grade classes learned information about Alaska, the Alaskan Iditarod race. During the Iditarod race, each student tracked an actual Iditarod musher in real time, and as a culmination of learning, each student participated in a one-day activity called the Idita Challenge. And I have the pictures out of order, so hang on and I will get to those in a second. During the nonfiction unit with school-wide 5th graders at Olive chose a historical character they found intriguing and read a biography book on that individual. They created a report on the individual, a speech, and created 3D bio bottles using craft materials, a styrofoam ball, and a 2-liter bottle. The students then presented their speeches to each homeroom and shared a museum walk with all 111 5th graders and their parents. That's it. Time's up. Man. During the museum walk, students had the opportunity to share their speeches with others and walk and appreciate the work of their peers. Some of the role models chosen were Helen Keller, Ben Franklin, Ida Wells, and more. And here's some cool pictures of them presenting with their bio bottles. Pretty awesome. Yeah, these are awesome. Yeah, so cool. I've never actually seen those before. Oh, yeah. So cool. Okay, so to finish up, 2 more. Student council is up and running after 2 years. They're working on building leadership skills in order to make some positive change. Oh, thanks. Awesome. They're working on building leadership skills in order to make around Olive. This includes creating behavior expectations for the school to reference for years to come, and they're also planning a spirit week as well. And finally, last but not least, Science Club has returned for 14 weeks of hands-on experiments. They built boats and determined weights and densities without electronic aids, investigated amino acids and proteins, extracted DNA, and simulated an epidemic with germs that glow under ultraviolet light. They built batteries, examined the components that make our electronics age possible, and solved a mysterious crime. 93 students, 1st through 5th grades, participated in the Science Club, assisted by 37 parent volunteers, which is awesome. And here are some pictures of the ones that I wasn't sure where they went. Now I do. These are some of our other Olive Mary Stitt friends, and here are some pictures from the Iditarod coming up. And this is their Idita Challenge outside. Different activities that they did. And that is a snapshot of Olive, so thank you so much.
Madam President, I just want to thank Allison, obviously, and the whole team for the work that they've been doing on the negotiations, and maybe a specific shout out to Casey Reed, and Brian, I'm sure will second me on this, to his culinary skills of a great cook. He's been tempting us with some creations, and so hopefully he'll continue those going forward.
Thank you so much, Allison, for sharing all those great, so many great events and activities and STEM activities. And I think I saw Judge Katenji up there too with one of our young students. So lots of great work by our students. So thank you so much. Next, we're going to move up to business and finance. And we have an action item regarding extension of bus transportation contract. Do I have a motion?
Madam President,
Yes, Greg.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the extension of the transportation contract with Cook County School Bus Company for 2022-2023.
Thank you, Greg. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rich. Stacy, would you like to share anything about this?
Sure. Not unlike everything else going on in the economy, Cook County has had to increase drivers' rates to attract drivers. Again, this year, many school districts suffered issues with their bus contract and not having drivers show up for routes or not having enough drivers for routes. Knock on wood, while we've had some combination of a couple routes, we did not experience those types of issues for our service in our district. They are requesting a 12% increase, again, because they've had to increase salaries 17 to 19% since April of 2021. They've seen increases in property liability insurance anywhere and workers' comp from 8% to 35%, as well as they've been putting off replacing some of the buses on our fleet because of the situation over the past couple of years, but we have had a couple buses breaking down this year, more than we've seen lately, so that is something that needs to get done as well. I had seen from other districts that had tried to go out to bid, not getting any bids. Companies don't have the staff, they don't have the drivers, so they're not bidding. And other school districts that I've seen, everyone's seeing double-digit increases for next year. So based on that, I am bringing this, recommending the renewal of this contract to the board. I don't know that at this point we have alternatives because I can't guarantee if I go out to bid that I'll get any bids. So we are looking at reducing, and actually we did it effective after spring break, reducing some routes at Ivy Hill for the Stonebridge apartment complex because we're not seeing the number of students there that we typically see. We went into the year planning for the same number of routes because we weren't sure what we were going to see. So we will reduce a couple of routes. Unfortunately, it doesn't get rid of them completely because we combine our middle school routes with our elementary routes and do double routes. So we see a savings to the extent that the two routes don't cost double of one route when you combine them. But we still have to pay for the one route for those that we're still going to be doing the middle school, but it'll free up a couple buses to do some athletic trips that we've been struggling to be able to find coverage for this year.
Thank you, Stacy, for sharing. It is unfortunate. Is there any discussion about what Stacy just shared with us about the buses? No discussion? I want to say, you know, we've all seen the stories in the media about principals and administrators having to actually get in and, you know, drive the buses because of the shortage, right? So I'm glad that we're not facing that, and I'm glad that you're being proactive to take steps.
I have to take some training.
Yeah. Because we definitely want our administrators to be doing the really important work that they have. So I'm glad you're taking proactive steps. So Lana, could you please call for a vote?
Member Conley?
Yes.
Member Scapalato?
Yes.
Member Olenichak?
Yes.
Member Jogi?
Yes.
Member Philippek?
Yes.
Member Cerniglia?
Yes.
Member Faso?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Lana. We're going to move forward with Music for Youth contract, and that is an informational item. Stacy, would you like to share, please?
Yes, Music for Youth is the organization that partners with the district to provide our stringed instrument or orchestra program. I myself am a proud graduate of that program, having been in it from 3rd grade all the way through freshman, well, Music for Youth through 8th grade, but continuing playing a stringed instrument up through early college. It is a tuition-based program, but District 25 does provide a subsidy to help offset the cost of that program and pay for it. We represent, I believe, about we represent 42% of the total cost of the program, and tuition covers about 58% of the program. We have historically entered into a contract for 3 years at a time with them, and they are seeking another 3-year commitment from us. Currently, our financial commitment to the program is $106,000, and we have historically tied the annual increase with them to CPI, which would be 5% for this next year, and then whatever it ends up being for the 2 years follow is the actual increase that they would request. We did look, I believe, back in 2016 and made a one-time larger adjustment in funding to them because we found that we were falling behind under 40% of account, like in the 30% type contribution, which was causing them to struggle somewhat without truly hitting the parents for tuition costs. So we did make an adjustment at that time, and this would then keep up with inflation to keep funding that program.
I'll add that the original agreements have been to try to get to a 50-50%, and I spoke with Music for Youth today, and Stacy did too, and they do believe this next contract starts to bring it closer to 50-50.
Okay. Thank you, Stacy and Dr. Vine. Are there any other questions?
I don't have any, Madam President, I don't have any questions. I'd already sent some questions to Dr. Vine. Thank you for the answers, and I just wanted to highlight, you know, at a cost of roughly, the tuition was like $560 a year. It's really incredible. I mean, you're talking about what you shared was 32 lessons a year. You might expect to, if you were to go try and find that alone, never mind the other experiences, 7 to 10 times that out of pocket if you were going to find a private lesson teacher. So, and we know that studying a musical instrument can improve students' performance in the classroom. It helps our students develop skills related to flexibility, adaptability, and resilience. So, and the other thing, I mean, the fact that you know, our students can start as early as kindergarten. I don't know of a school that has an orchestra program that could start that early. So it's just rare that a program would be accessible in this way, especially at that young an age, and it's just really special. Now, Dr. Vine, you did give me the answer to this question, but I thought it worth highlighting here. You know, this, even for as valuable as an opportunity this is, there is a cost involved, and there could be families out there that's just a stretch for them. And how do we support those families and make, you know, music on an instrument accessible to them?
Yeah, so Music for Youth does have a small scholarship pool that they can use. They typically use that for current students who then families have financial struggles. They also discount that tuition when there's more than one child per family. And then in partnership with them in District 25, we would never allow a child to miss out on something they wanted to do for financial reasons. So we do have the Angel Fund, named after a previous employee that people donate to throughout the year. Many of our retirees make annual donations to that. Various donations come in, and so we use that fund to help students who want to be in Music for Youth and can't afford the tuition, to help kids that want to be in any extracurricular program, to help kids that need clothing support, and to even help if kids want to do a partnership program like the Park District or something a little bit outside of our district. We use that Angel Fund. So there would never be a student who couldn't participate because of financial reasons.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vine. Thank you, Greg, for sharing your music education expertise lens to this. And you just said that music kind of sparks different parts of the brain, and we have it here. We heard Stacy Malik telling us she did the music, and she's a math whiz and genius, so Music for Youth definitely works, so thank you so much. We'll move on to another business and finance item with the 2022-2023 student fees, and this is an action item.
NSSEO budget.
Oh, did I skip one?
Letter C at the very top.
Oh, the budget. Yes. Thank you. So let's reverse. We'll go to the 2022-2023 NSSEO's budget, and this is an informational item. Stacy, do you have?
Yes. So you have a copy of the proposed budget from NSSEO that is built beginning in December with projections on students that will be enrolled in programs next year. The school business officials from all the member districts meet with as part of a finance committee to talk about different pieces related to the reserves they have, insurance costs, that kind of thing. We do currently have 35 students that we anticipate will be part of NSSEO programs for next year. We budgeted for 35 this year, which included some contingency students, so we will be budgeting for 39 students next year, so that because we always have kids maybe who either start here with us and then need further supports and end up getting having a program at NSSEO being a better fit for them, or we have kids that move in mid-year that may also need services through NSSEO. So we like to have that extra set of 4 contingency students to make sure that we have money in the budget to cover those should we see those students move in or need those services. We have a couple of private placements, because I do show the whole board the entire tuition budget here, that are graduating this year, 8th grade, so that budget will go down. So overall, the total tuition budget is basically even. It's a 0.2 decrease from the current year, even though overall NSSEO's individual school tuitions are going up anywhere from 5% to 7%. Some of that is based on because of the pandemic we've been in these last few years, and just like everybody else, the inability to fill all of the positions they need. They haven't been able to take as many non-member students, and when they can take non-member students into their programs, it helps reduce the cost for the member districts. They are planning to be able to resume taking students next year, which ultimately could then return some money to us. But until they know that they have the staff and the students that need the program from non-member districts, that full cost does get shared with the member districts.
Okay. Thank you, Stacy. Do we have any questions about this item? Okay, seeing no questions, I will now move on to the next item, which is also, which I just mentioned, the 2022-23 student fees, and that is an action item.
Madam President?
Yes, Greg.
I move that the Board of Education approve the 2022-23 student fees as presented.
Thank you, Greg. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rich. Stacy again.
I did present these at the last meeting, and the only things that have changed are some of the prices for the materials we sell to families, such as the gym shirts or gym shorts or the graduation fee. Those prices at this point are, a lot of our vendors are not willing to give us pricing for next year because costs are rising so quickly. So those are estimates. We will actually charge families. You know, we do registration in May. We'll have to go with these amounts based on those estimates. Typically, we know the actual price and we'll charge it, so that we're not here to make a profit on them. We're just here to turn them around and make it easier for families to have access to the items they need for class.
Thank you, Stacy. Any questions about this item? Okay, seeing none. Lana, could you please call for the vote?
Member Scapalato?
Yes.
Member Lonichek?
Yes.
Member Jogi?
Yes.
Member Philippek?
Yes.
Member Cherniglia?
Yes.
Member Faso?
Yes.
Member Conley?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Lana. We will now move forward to the superintendent's report. And we have a informational item to begin with Freedom of Information Act report. Dr. Bai?
Thank you. So listed as we do each board meeting are any Freedom of Information Act requests and the days that we responded. There are 6 on this agenda since the last board meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you. And the board meeting structure update is the next item, Dr. Bine?
Thank you. So following up on a topic that we talked about last time and the board asked us to look into something a little bit more. So this piece refers to the electronic public comments. As the board knows, during COVID, we opened an opportunity for people to submit comments electronically because we had to limit the number of people who could be in attendance. And at that time, we would read those comments during the meeting, during the time allotted that we had, and then post those comments online following the meeting. So I did reach out to our legal counsel to ask what kind of options we have with these. And because electronic public comments is not something that's required for the board to have in place, if we keep that in place, we no longer have to read them at meetings. And so we would simply let the community know that, you know, they could still submit public comments, they wouldn't be read aloud, but they could still be posted the next day on our website. I would like to encourage the board, though, to remember that people have the opportunity to reach out to the board via email. Right. There's the board feedback email address that goes to every inbox on the time that the people send them, which I think is a more timely way for the board to get community input than waiting and seeing all of these at this time. The other struggle I'll want to be honest with you about is that this does take a little, Lana's set up a system, so she has a really good system, but it does take some work on Lana to make sure these are formatted and available. And my fear about these, to be honest with you, is we don't really have an ability to edit unless someone should say something very dangerous or threatening. And these get posted publicly where our students can see them. And so we have, you know, very little control of what these say, and they go on our website. So it's just something I want the board to think about. I would encourage the board to consider ending this, having electronic public comments. Again, we put it in place for the reason because we had to limit the number of people who could come to our meetings. We no longer, and haven't had for this year actually, a limit to that number in attendance. And there's still a very easy way for people to reach out to every single board member through that board feedback email. But ultimately, this is up to the board to decide if they want to continue with this, if they want to edit it, if they want to remove it now. And then just a quick other item left over from our board meeting structure topic. The board did talk about wanting a policy committee. And so once we have our new committee assignments, I'll create some meeting dates and reach out to those members to see if those dates work for everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Vine. Are there any questions about the board meeting structure update that Dr. Vine just shared?
No, I just wanted to say, Dr. Vine, for those years, I think years, I should say, that you were reading those emails. That's a fantastic job to do that and to handle that during the meeting. I know that was probably stressful and a little bit tedious and hard to do on the spot, and you did a fantastic job, and I thank you for handling that and reading some probably uncomfortable things. So thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to add my perspective, you know, as from an individual board perspective, is I really appreciate the timely feedback. So when a community member, we're all open to feedback, and when it comes straight into my inbox, at the time when the resident, the neighbor, wanted to share out that comment, then I see it straight away versus thinking about, you know, it doesn't alert me when it goes to this other place. So I like it to come straight to our inboxes. That's my perspective of it. And there's so many outreach opportunities that our board has kind of set up to make sure that we're at candidate coffees, we're at different events. So, and our email is always accessible to anybody who wants to reach out to us. So I think there's many avenues. So thanks for kind of going over that piece and the piece that Lana has been taking care of for so long here. But you don't need a decision from us for that right now.
It would be great to know, does the board want to continue with electronic comments, but we'd notify the public that we wouldn't be reading them, or is the board willing to stop that process now that we don't have limits to the number of attendees at meetings?
I would be a proponent to suspend the process.
Yeah,
I think we're pretty accessible. You know, there's plenty of seats right here if people want to come in. I mean, there's American with Disabilities Act, so somebody has an issue there. And again, our email, I think we're incurring time and cost and energy in a place I don't think we need to. We needed to before, but I would be a proponent to suspend that process.
Yeah, I agree, Brian. We did a fantastic job of meeting those needs, and I think right now those needs don't need to be met anymore.
Madam President, I would just add, I think, you know, if it's a discussion about accessibility, like everyone's saying, members of the public have access to us, but I don't know that we have any other system where someone could post really anything to our website at will, and that seems outside of the intent of the process.
So I believe what I'm hearing is that we move forward and kind of do away with this, but knowing that we full well anybody, that we're always welcome feedback from our community. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, thank you. Moving forward, we're going to go to Department of Communications update, and we're excited that we have our team of amazing 2 communication folks to share with us today, Adam and Inai, all right?
Hi. This will only take like 2 hours. Okay, so communications in District 25. Let's jump into it. During this presentation, I'm going to cover 4 things. We have a new logo. I don't know if you can tell. We are going to update our website template coming this year in the summer, which I'm excited about. I spoke with you all in 2019, updating you on social media and statistics and how we analyze it, and I just want to refresh with you, plus we have a new social media platform, which we're excited about, and then some new content themes that came up from this past year. So let's talk about the new district logo. Before we get to the fun part of unveiling it, it's already out here, but I wanted to just tell you about the process from when I first got here. I was hired in July of 2015, and one of the first things that I wanted to do was brand our schools and then brand our district purposefully, with intent and with thought process and with understanding the feeling of the district and the schools. What I love about logos and branding is what it does to the people that own them and use them. And it creates pride in our schools and our communities. You know, seeing like a patent parent wear like a Panther hat at a soccer practice, that stuff's really cool because I think it just creates this sense of ownership in the community. And it's like, that's my school, that's my kid's school, and I'm gonna wear it with pride. And that, when it's purposefully done by a graphic designer, we had our kids vote between 2 logos at each one of the schools to decide which ones they wanted. So then all the schools got their logos, and that was really fun, and they've been using them, and it's been fun to see how everyone's using them. Then I turned my attention to the district logo, and what I wanted to do was find something that gave us a little more identity and tells our story a little more. When people see it, they can connect with it a little more. I think our original logo was created well before when I got here, and I think it was maybe like on Microsoft Word or something, and it's popular, and I've always like liked it. I wanted to nod to this logo, but kind of bring in everything that I've learned about this district and people have learned about this district. So no better time than the present. You know, the past couple years have been interesting, and it's kind of like this refresh, I feel. It feels clean, and I think that we have a new strategic plan, which we're all really excited about. Our schools all have their logos and branding,
And especially nowadays, branding is super, super important. And telling your story in every aspect of anything is super important, because everybody can do it now. It's really easily accessible. So we went through several designs and feedback and redesigns and came up with this new logo. So that's just what it was. And also, that's probably going to become a cool throwback. You know, it's not something that we just take and throw in the garbage. It's something that has made us who we are. So it's not like a full-on blitz to just throw that logo away. Like, it's, I don't know, throwbacks are cool. And they still tell a story, and they tell us who we are. And that's the series of logos there with the word marks and different circles, and one that has Together Today, Transform Tomorrow in it. And what's cool about that little circle is if we have a new slogan in the next 5 years after this strategic plan, that can be dropped right in there as well to help tell our story. So
we all eat our cookies and to commemorate the.
Yeah, man. Let's cookies are fun, right? So what I like about this, and what some of the conversation was it's a nod to our old logo. It still has the A, it still has the H. You kind of have to like look for it, which I think's fun. It might hit people not right away. Still has the number 25, and it nods to our blue. We still stay on the same color palette. And this one tells a story. I think, when I started biking around the district, I got to really get to know this community. Spending time at schools, not easily able to just zip from school to school. So if I have an appointment somewhere, I go and I hang out and do my work from there. Talking to parents, talking to community members, kind of really feeling this community. It's really unique, and I think what's really cool about it is it has this feeling of home and comfort, and loves its past and its roots, and also is always looking forward, is always trying to push, is always trying to be better. And I think that's how I see this logo. A schoolhouse is a very classic thing, and I think that this is kind of a modern take on it a little bit. And the arrow's pointing up, which is also the school bell, and it's always showing let's move forward. So that's the motivation that we had behind designing this and the thought process. And I wanted to talk about the color palette as well. Charcoal, blue, and gray. And the charcoal was really, really important because it allowed us to do this with the school logos. The outside logo, the outside color of charcoal allows us to coordinate with all the school colors as well, which I think will be kind of fun. For anyone that knows how the Big Ten does their logos, and you'll see it on the different schools, Indiana will have the Big Ten logo, but in their Indiana red. And that's kind of what we were thinking, to kind of allow our schools to kind of own it a little bit as well. And then this took a team. Tom Reesing is someone that I've talked about to you all before. He's a former D25 student. He's a current D25 parent. He's a husband to a D25 teacher. He grew up here. He designed all of our school logos. I thought it was just natural to ask him to help with this project as well. What I think's awesome about working with someone like that is he's just as vested at getting this right as we would want someone to be. Because, I don't know, it's a really cool experience, I think, for him to be able to go through the schools and then be able to give back in this way. And he wanted to get it right. And so there was a lot of back and forth between me and him, and Inanna Zumaya, who is our communications assistant, and him, and then also our cabinet team, who I want to thank for their time as well. Gave really valuable feedback. This took a long time, and it's something that I'm proud to bring to the board and to bring to our community. And again, not a full-out blitz. I think it's important to keep, again, like we like to do in Arlington Heights, our roots. So it's not something where I go, okay, I'm going to just walk through and start tearing things off the walls and throwing this thing up. I think this is hopefully going to be something just like the last one that's going to be here for 25, 30 years, and it'll just become ingrained within our community. Maybe the society, I don't know, America might like it. New website template. So this is the next thing. Okay, so how I always have looked at our website is a resource for our parents, incoming parents, and then parents that are here that don't have kids in the district yet. And I've always said this, I look at our website like a billboard or an advertisement for our district. We are judged immediately by our community and potential residents on our website. And if anybody has had a kid that's going to go to college and they say, hey, I think I want to go to Michigan State or Butler or something, first thing people do is they Google that. They click on that homepage pops up, and even if you don't mean to, you have an immediate reaction and inside judgment that happens about that school. It's not the final judgment whether or not that child's going to go there, but you as a parent have an immediate reaction. The child does too, like whoever visits it. And so I take that seriously with our website. I think it's the first place people, a lot of times, will get the impression of who we are. So I want to make sure that we have something that is always telling our story, and that is not hard to navigate. And so going back to 2016, I first got here in 2015, one of the first projects I had, besides the logo, was redesigning our website. And when I got here, it was in desperate need of a redesign and a facelift. And actually that back then was more of a redesign than a facelift. And what we do and who we are is we're simple, yet efficient, yet confident, not flashy, but still engaging and able to tell our story. And I want people to be intuitively navigating through our website. And I think that this template has done that for 6 years. I really, really still like it, and I think it still could do that for like another year, maybe 2. But I did not want to be in a position where we were back in 2015, where it was like, we need to get this thing out in a year so that we can keep up with, just keep up with where we should be, honestly. So why the facelift? Again, I don't want to wait too long this time. It'll be a good change this summer in the community, for the community, and also it's more of a facelift than I think it is a complete redesign. And also, this is important and interesting. I want to always be adapting to the way that I'm noticing the public would want to navigate our site and the way websites are being built now. So as I start to, I'm always consciously, actively, whenever I go to any website, I'm always like, okay, this is interesting. I see where the trend of websites are going. I see how I'm navigating this. And then I kind of assess, is ours doing that? And then also, keeping it realistic, we're an elementary school district. This particular template. Okay, so number 1, those 2 toggles on the left-hand side, they pop out an easy access to important info. Over the past 2 years, it's been hard for me to find a proper place for COVID material, for example. That's just an example of hey, this is new stuff that we've never done before. Where should it go? So people can see it right away. And I finally found a spot, and it's kind of up at top, but I think that what's awesome about these pop-out toggles is you click it, it doesn't take you off the page, it kind of just pops out. It's a new window on top of the website. It gives you information that you need right away. Number 2, I'm noticing a trend where drop-downs are going away in websites. And so this template has drop-down capabilities, but I'm looking at designing it so that we only go with where number 3 is, that 3-line menu option that I think we're all getting used to when we navigate websites. So it's a slide-out navigation. And then number 4, those sticky icons are pretty cool. They're at the bottom of the screen, and those are icons that will flow with you as you scroll. So if you're scrolling and you can't find the information, and then you're like, oh wait, this is the calendar right here. Click, easy access to stuff. Calendar, menu, web store, things like that that parents are wanting right away. Registration, employment, and then number 5, something even greater to tell our story, a big giant picture, or could be video. And we're going to make it so that it's video, something that can engage people, like just really just show who we are like right away. And we're obviously going to make that about our kids and our staff. And so those are the 5 things that kind of drew us to this template. Other than that, when you're navigating through, the pages underneath look very similar, which is nice for our community. This is another aspect. This is on the home page. So when you scroll down, there's a spot that we can now highlight a little bit more of who we are when people scroll. They can see our slogan right away. I mean, that doesn't have to be where our slogan would be, but I think that would be a good spot for it. We can quickly give people access to where we're telling our stories, our podcasts, videos, things like that. So that's another cool aspect on the homepage. One notable change that I want to bring up is I'm wanting to, and with this switch, we're going to eliminate our school sites. Right now, we pay our vendor for 10 sites, a district site, and then 9 school sites. So when you go to Thomas, his home, like they have a homepage that looks just like ours, and it has all the space and capabilities that our district homepage would have. And I've learned over the years that we are linking from those sites to our district site a lot, like mainly all of it, like menus, because that just houses on our district site. It's menu across the district. There's a middle school menu and elementary menu. So people click there, they go to our district site now. Now they're off Thomas's site. I'm sorry, I'm blanking, but like web store things, the parent-student handbook, a lot of things like registration, all of that stuff. The things that are school-specific, they can fit very comfortably and also way less overwhelmingly underneath our district site on a subpage. And so then the only hurdle to jump over there would be how do we make sure we give people access to that? And so on our home page, we're going to have our school logo icons, and people are able to just click to go to Thomas. It'll take them to that subpage. That's an example of what it'll look like. That's what Westgate's would look like. Westgate Wire. So Dr. Ann Buck, she has a weekly communication that gets archived on the website. That can easily be done there without needing an entirely separate site. This does a few things. Yes, it saves us annually with our vendor, and it also, I think, kind of streamlines the way we're keeping up all of these sites. Right now, it's 10 different sites to make sure that don't become kind of dumping grounds for like different like PDF links and things to get out there, and then there's like a form from 2019, and like we're trying to manage it at the communications level, and then at the end of the day, that just doesn't look great when we get out there to the public, and people are like, this is a form from 2019. And so this makes it a lot easier to manage, keep up to date, and I think also once parents are there on these pages, it'll be a lot less overwhelming, because some of the sites right now, like, you know, these elementary schools don't necessarily need 6 drop-downs and a bunch of different sections. It's accessible under there. So we're hoping that this website remodel will be done this summer. Not hoping, like that's our goal, ready for the next school year, which is what we did in 2016. We launched it to begin the 2016-2017 school year. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, we've had both those since I've been here. We now have an Instagram page. So let's talk through these 3 things. Facebook was established in July of 2015. It has 3,300 followers now, which is a 791 increase in followers since 2019, 2,900 page likes, 1,000 increase since 2019. In the last 28 days, and this is something that we look at constantly, our Facebook account has reached 9,700 people, post engagements of 770, so likes, hearts, comments, not comments, just likes and hearts and things, only likes and hearts. 18 new followers as well in the last 28 days. How we use it. this is my favorite thing to talk about when Enon and I are analyzing our social media. Facebook is a great place that has opened our window to the classroom. It's kind of like a second website a little bit, because it's a place that people are spending more time on. If you just think about how you use Facebook as opposed to Twitter and as opposed to Instagram, there's more opportunity for content to be put on Facebook. And I'll talk about the differences between them all. So this has become a really awesome secondary place for us to lean on to reach our parents, which, okay, so 10,000 to 13,000 people were reached on our two most popular posts from this past year. And those were two D25 feature videos that actually Enana did, and they're awesome. And that is awesome, reaching 13,000 people with a video. Generally, we average around 1,900 to 2,000 people reached when we post something, and that's still really good too. And then occasionally, a couple times a year, we'll hit something that that connects with someone, and it gets shared and reaches a lot more people. And then this is the goods. This is my favorite thing, because when we post something, and then about our staff members or about a kid, and what we're doing is we're creating an online community. And that's why we pour so much effort into these social media platforms. And that's why they could be they could consume our jobs if we wanted them to. Because this online community that we are creating, this is a video for Mr. Frank. He's the FOM at Windsor, and he was given a Hearts of Gold Award from Arlington Heights. And we just went there, shot footage, Inanna put together a video, and then look at all that love. And that's awesome, because that not only hits Mr. Frank, but it shows support for the other FOMs as well at all the other schools. It shows support from the community to the staff. It's the ultimate good vibe stuff, and that's what we're after. Let's talk about Twitter. This was established 5 years before I got here in June of 2010. We have 3,644 total page followers. It's an increase of 1,000 since 2019. And in the last 28 days, we have 11,400 tweet impressions, 412 impressions per day, 2,600 profile visits, and 105 mentions. I was wrong about Twitter from when I first got here. I came in like this, 27-year-old whippersnapper, and I'm like, hey, Facebook's dying. Let's just push Twitter. But I didn't totally dive into that. That's just where I was thinking. And it wasn't true. Facebook was the greatest thing for us. And then I saw the beauty of Twitter. Twitter is such a cool place for our staff to connect with one another across school boundaries, district boundaries. It's so cool to just scroll Twitter. And the beauty of it now is we're not diving a lot of our attention into our district account, because since I've gotten here and what I've seen since I've gotten here is the teachers are all doing it. And so now it's kind of we just get to be cool, we set the table, and then they're just going for it. And it's been really, really, really awesome to see the way teachers are diving in and staff are diving into Twitter. So it's an awesome way. And also I've heard from some parents that are yeah, I follow my teacher. So in between their CNN and Fox News posts, they'll get some awesome kid pictures, and that's cool. But it's not a realistic way for them to stay totally in tune to the classroom. But it can give a parent a quick thing to say, hey, instead of what did you do at school today? Hey, I saw you did this. Tell me about it. Gets a kid talking. And then this was our most impressioned tweet this year. It was our D25Y video, which is cool. That was done at the very beginning of the year. And now to Instagram. It's run by Inanna Zomaya, and that was a big thing that I really wanted to get going. I wasn't able to wrap my brain around it before I was able to have someone. And she's very good at it, and she's grown it from 0 to 778 followers. And something like this, tonight, right? So we had that amazing recognition with our D25 All-Stars. And that is going to be covered on Instagram story. And so it's a quick, easy, fun, engaging way to cover things like that, as opposed to gathering a bunch of content, finding a way to put it into a video or some way to visually show it on Facebook properly so it's engaging. That's a lot. And this, it gets out there and it's growing. So the way that she's utilizing it and the way that we're utilizing it, I'm excited about it. Our posts have reached 1,618 accounts, our stories have reached 632 accounts, and our videos have reached 417 accounts. And we're constantly talking about how to, that's a conversation I want you all to realize that we are constantly having, is like we post something, we let it sit for a day, we analyze, was that the right time, was that the right, because it's just this like poker game with like the outside social media world and the algorithms. We're trying to find the right ways to post these things. So it's a visual medium, and that's the beauty of Instagram. You look at it, and you immediately, just kind of like our website, you immediately get a feeling, and I think that that's how we're using it. Our most loved posts, like for example, these are 3 Olive posts about an Olive student or an Olive like story. So it's clear that Olive loves Instagram right now. That's what's going on. So if any other school wants to challenge Olive with the likes, what'd you say? That's right. And then coverage via the stories. These are some things that are just easily covered. Like Greenbrier had their parents come and like just give some teachers some good vibes as they walked into the buildings. It's just an easy thing to just kind of throw on a story. And so, and these are all archived on our Instagram, which is really fun. So you can always go back and look at that stuff. And our parents are reacting and messaging us. And so it's a fun way to interact as well. And I just want to keep growing Instagram. That's what I want to keep doing. I want to keep pushing to really grow that, because I think it's a medium that we haven't utilized in the past that I want to keep growing. Again, I'm super proud of our staff for Twitter, and I'm really proud of how everyone's been utilizing that. And Facebook will just continue to lean on it as if it's our second website. Okay. New content themes. We have a video theme called D25 Features. So previously to that, it'd be me doing out and abouts and interviewing kids, and I love doing those. And these are giving a little bit more of an intentional story to the public about an event or about a particular person in District 25. And that's something that Inanna has dove into, and they're really good, and I'll show you one at the end of this presentation. The District Dish is now coming out every 2 weeks on Thursdays. Something that we've talked about a lot in the past, or I have, I guess, to myself, and then also with Dr. Bine and just members of Cabinet, where we've been like, do we need to make a consistent newsletter out? And we've always been like, no, let's do it when we have news. We didn't want to just force fill something with information. What I'm starting to realize is the fact that we have something now committed for every single 2 weeks to go out allows us to hit parents way more than once about things, because parents are busy. And if they see it in one dish and then in another dish doesn't come out for like 2 months, they might not see that same thing. They might not have signed up for the ABC run. But now, like, for example, for the past 2 months, ABC's foundation run has just been in there just constantly. And I imagine a parent's like, can't do it now, can't do it now. Okay, now I can register. And it's great to have that consistent reminder. And then we're able to put new things in there as well. We always have something to lean on. So it's kind of streamlined the way we communicate. And that's something that Inan is taking control of too. The Get to Know You podcast, it's been fun talking with y'all. A couple more to schedule. And it's been fun to revamp that. It's something that I stopped doing because of how the job kind of grew, and I'm glad to get back to that because it's a passion of mine, and I think that it's a fun way to kind of just get news out there in a different way than just video. And then we talked about Instagram. So I'm going to show this video here, and this is a video about a former Greenbrier Gator that came back and spoke to Greenbrier kids.
Open heart surgery is super serious, and it was a very serious situation. My name is Eva Ruderschmidt. I'm a senior at Buffalo Grove High School, and I went to Greenbrier for elementary school. I had open heart surgery, and Mr. Hellman had contacted me about making a video for the school again, and I really wanted to get more involved than just the video. So he had me come back to the Heart Challenge and talk to the students a little bit. And I'm super passionate about the American Heart Association, so it was really important for me to come and talk to them. I was always super active when I was younger. I played travel soccer, travel softball, I did track, I did pretty much any sport you can think of. And I had just had a weekend with a soccer tournament and 2 softball games. And I'd felt fine most of the weekend, and then that Monday we were running the mile in gym. And about halfway through, I felt like I couldn't breathe. And so I walked the rest of the lap that I was on, and I let Mr. Hellman know. And he could have very easily told me to just keep running and just thought I was trying to get out of it, and he knew that wasn't something that I would do. So he had me lay down, and he got the nurse. And they took my heart rate, and it had dropped to under 50. After running, it should have been much higher, so we knew something was definitely wrong. I went to the doctor for an echocardiogram, and through that they found that I had an anomalous coronary artery. My left coronary artery was on the wrong side of my heart, so it pretty much wrapped around. Anytime I did like hard physical activity, it would squeeze my heart so much that my heart would stop sometimes. If I had kept going, if he wanted me to keep going, if he hadn't like told me to stop, I very well could have died that day. So me and my family were super, super grateful for him. He's a great gym teacher, and he's a great person, and he really just wants the best for his students, and you could definitely see that through his actions.
So like next week, Thursday, Friday, you can get these if you've earned them.
He started doing the Kids Heart Challenge when he started here, which was when I was in 2nd grade. So we'd done like jump rope for heart and did some fundraisers. But we spoke the other day, and he said he started it more just to keep people involved here. But with what happened with me, he said that really influenced him to like keep it going and to make it an even bigger thing. And now they're at $27,000, and it's amazing. It's really awesome to see that. All the teachers I've had here have been amazing. There hasn't been a single one that hasn't influenced me. I really made so many memories here. All the teachers just really care about their students. They really want to connect with them, really want to make an impact, and they really do. I learned so much, even the stuff outside of the classroom, just developing as a person. I really feel like they fostered that environment here.
Yeah, so that's just one example of things that we are able to kind of cover now, and it's good stuff. And that's it. That's all I have. So I don't know. Are there any questions or thoughts?
Thank you so much, Adam and Inanna, for all this work and for telling this story. And as board members, we actually saw the Heart Challenge happening in the buildings, but seeing the video and actually a story behind it makes it even more impactful for us. And I have so much more to say, but I'm going to open it up to my board colleagues for any comments and questions they may have.
Madam President.
Yes, Scott.
You said you're not going to go through the buildings and tear things off the wall and all that, and I can appreciate that, but is there a target date that we're going to roll out our new logo?
Yeah. Okay, so I would consider this rolling it out. I think it's rolled. Like,
I mean, okay, so maybe I'll
sorry.
rephrase it for full implementation of that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because I know we have vehicles, we have signage like out in front here that
Yes.
is.
Yes. So, like for example, tomorrow I'm going to email new letterheads to our central office for us to use. Putting it on new board presentation templates, things like that. I'm already in talks with Ryan. He has all the files. So that truck, I think, and I don't want to speak for Ryan, but I think that he said he was targeting in the summer to do something like that. The sign out front, yeah, that can get done. It's kind of like, I think now, you know, and the rug out front, like things like that. And then there's going to be things that, like, along the way, people are like, hey, this form has this logo on it, and then I'll start switching it. Stuff like that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I know you said that you want to keep the logo, but it'd be confusing, I think, to our parents to see both of them.
Totally, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's like a delicate thing. I'm trying to, like...
And I don't expect this to be immediate.
Yes.
It's going to be, because I know the pictures on the wall are beautiful, but unfortunately they have the old logo on them, so.
Oh, those are also on my summer to do as well.
Gotcha. I'm not holding you to any pressure.
Yeah,
I just was curious if there is a target date that we say this is the day that this is what we expect the school to look like.
Yeah.
And I think when we start the new school year,
Yeah.
we'll be well on our way.
I think so too, yeah. Thanks.
Madam President?
Go ahead, Greg.
Adam, I have some appreciation I wanted to share, but some questions along the way. So starting with the logo, you know, I'll share as a band director that, you know, the simplest lyrical music that we work on with our kids is the hardest to prepare. And so to see the simplicity of that logo, but it's just jam-packed with information, it's almost like a secret decoder ring. Like we need Adam, you know, like it's just so impressed with that clean, simple design and how much information is really packed in there. So with the logo, can you, for those of us that are not graphic designers and communication specialists, how will that interact with our, you know, our school mascots, right? Which was part of our logo before. So do they coexist, or, you know, how do they interact together?
I would, so what's your, like, I'm sorry, I'm confused.
I would say, so temporarily, I think you're talking about what's up on the screen right now, right? We had a short time where we put all the school logos with our district logo.
Yes.
So how does it happen
Or
now?
you introduced us to how the colors would change by school using that same logo.
Yes.
So I'm assuming they don't replace the mascot, but, you know, how
They
do they
don't,
interact?
right, yeah, they don't replace, yeah. So I was thinking that would be the way that our district logo would give schools and the district logo together would be the colors of the schools, and then at the footers of letterheads. So it's like a nod that they're a part of District 25, but their letterhead is their olive owl circle. Okay. So kind of like a nod, I would say. That's what I would say.
Yeah, yeah. With the website redesign, just loving that big visual, just right there in front of us, but also your purposeful attention to the usability.
Thanks.
It's not just, does it look great, but how can our community interact with us? So thank you for that careful attention to that. With the social media, it's so great, the active presence that is out there, and you highlighted it so well, that celebrates the student learning and the vibrant community we have in our district. And I wanted to ask, you know, again, you highlighted this, we have a teacher community that's so very active on Twitter, and I was just curious, did that happen organically, or was it, you know, how did that come about?
Yeah, I'll jump in for a second. And, you know, Adam started the district Twitter account, and then Adam gives classes to the district staff when they're brand new and throughout the year, and to our mentors. And he really did a lot of, how do you use Twitter? What could you use it for? And taught people a lot of that until they got comfortable with it. And then from that, I think it did grow organically. We have not said everybody has to have a Twitter account. It really has grown, but with people having the understanding from Adam on how to use it well.
And I think it was like kind of giving permission to not be scared to be on social media. I think being vulnerable and authentic from the district level gave a lot of teachers the permission to do what they want to do, which is share what's going on in their classroom without fear of the unknown. And so I think seeing it from us, and then our teachers kind of embraced it that way.
Yeah. I'll finish my comments. Thank you. I'll finish just by saying thank you, Dr. Bine and Adam, for bringing that proposal a year ago, well, a little less than a year ago, for adding a communications assistant. So, because now you really shared with us the fruit of that proposal. So thank you for that addition to the team. And thank you for the reminders on ABC 25. I'll be registering real soon.
Just to make sure, I think the board might have been introduced once, but I want to make sure you know Anana Samaya sitting in the back, who's really done a great job joining Adam.
For sure. We're so excited that you're here, Inanna. There's a lot of work that Adam's been doing, and so now with you, this is all getting amplified as well, because truly effective communication is key to organizational success, and especially with public schools and telling positive stories, telling the real authentic magic that happens in our schools is very, very important across the country and here in District 25 as well. So thank you so much to both of you for doing that. And Adam, you've been here for 7 years, and in 7 years, you've kind of transformed the communication landscape of the district in big ways of telling these stories. And we as board members love to be in the buildings, and we are in the buildings, but it's great on a daily basis. We're able to see as parents ourselves and as board members kind of scroll through and see, my goodness, this happened, or there was this great parade for Principal Ann Bush, Dr. Ann Bush in her building. So all these great things that we're able to get to as well. And as far as the brand and purposefully kind of launching this new brand, I think the heart that went behind it, and we're so happy that Mr. Tom Reesing got an award from INSPRA that Dr. Bine told us about.
Yes.
And you've got an award too, right? So this award-winning team that we have is really, truly important work that you're doing. And the logo is so forward-facing. I feel like it's modern, it's shiny, it's three-dimensional. So it's just an exceptional job of kind of capturing what our district is about and telling that story. So all in all, we're so excited and we're so grateful.
Thanks. I think our staff is so awesome that I can just walk into their classrooms, and that is so cool because they are so flexible, and I'm just like, hey, I need to just ask Angela a couple questions, and they're like, yeah, cool, see you, and that makes it so easy. So I want to also make sure that we know that our staff is allowing me to do the job and us to do the job that we want to do.
No, thank you. And our students are rock stars. You've made them all celebrities.
Yeah, they're cool,
like
man.
CNN people, like little kids out there.
They're cool.
So it is very cool. And so for folks listening and folks here, become, add yourself. So the
Yep.
followership that we saw, get on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and get on our website. And that's another way that we're outreaching to the community at large. So thank you so much. Thanks for the amazing report.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
So we will move forward with the next item, which I believe is community input, where the public may address the Board of Education again. Lana, do we have any more slips? Oh, yes. Melissa, you may come up. Thank you.
Please put the employee's contribution to their retirement package on their pay stub, along with the employer's contribution to their retirement package. And also, on the Cook County Property Tax Bill 2021 first installment that was due March 1st, 2022, Harper College, Community College 512 Palatine has amount of pension and health care shortage, $73,034,940. Percent of pension and health care costs taxing districts can pay, 0.00%.
Thank you. Back. Moving forward, we will look at future agenda items. And are there any other future agenda? The two that we have listed, equity audit, which we're going to have May 5th, coming up next month, and then a plan for addressing capital projects needs and future projections for winter 2022-23. Are there any other future agenda items that the board would like to see, talk about? Okay, seeing none. Any new topics that would like to be added? We're good. It's been so informative. We have no other new topics. It's all on social media. Yes, it is all on social media. So we're at 9:10 here. I think we can close. We're going to adjourn, and I'd need a motion to adjourn into closed session.
Madam President?
Yes,
I
Rich?
move that we adjourn and move to closed session.
Thank you, Rich. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Chad. And does Lana need to call for a vote for this? Yes, Lana, if you could call for a vote.
Member Olenichak?
Yes.
Member Jogi?
Yes.
Member Philippak?
Yes.
Member Cerniglia?
Yes.
Member Faso?
Yes.
Member Conley?
Yes.
Member Scapalato?
Yes.